All rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez.
Here.
Councilwoman Eckhart.
Here.
Councilwoman Hudak.
Here.
Councilman Lord.
Here.
Supervisor Hay.
Here. Make a first notation exits, front and rear, an electronic device, please put it on vibrate. I make a motion to come out of the executive session, no action was taken.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First on the agenda is a public hearing for State Line Retail Complex. I make a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing and to go into the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jamie LaJudas from Inside Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture. I'm here on behalf of the Kamar Realty Investment Group
Can
as
you hear that okay? Okay, go ahead, sorry.
as the owner of the property. The subject property, are now known as the State Line Retail Center, is the Lot 2 of a former subdivision that included an additional lot. Subject property is the one in color. This is located along Route 6 with Interstate 84 on the back side. It is 1.1 miles to the Connecticut state line, to give you a little proximity of where it is. The project proposes large retail establishments, associated parking, landscaping, lighting, stormwater management. There is an approved septic on the site as well. This project was previously before the planning board back in 2010 when it was originally approved as part of the subdivision site plan, wetland permit, and special permit, which we then became before your board on. It received in 2009, we did a seeker's finding as part of the planning board review. Your board reviewed the special permit in 2009 as well and granted that permit. Site plan approval was applied and granted to this project in 2010. We went through several different extensions, got reapproval in 2014. We have since been through all the extensions again and are now before your board, since your zoning requires us to come before you as the approval authority for large retail establishments for a renewal of this project. So that being the entire back history of the project has not changed since 2009 when we started. We have, it is fully approved. We do have DOT approval as part of the project. There is no specific users for the site itself. It is right now all speculation, and we're trying our best to market this to users to get them in. When we do get a user, we will be back before your board for an amended site plan so that we can fit their use to the site itself.
Now, I'm going to ask you just to briefly explain again to the public and maybe to the board so we better understand, maybe I can better understand. I heard two things. Is there two lots there or is there one lot?
The project before you now is only for one lot.
What lot are we looking at?
Lot 2.
Which shows which one?
Everything in color.
Okay.
That is lot 2.
Now, I saw, when you were saying that, even my eyes may be bad, I saw two lots there, so you just clarified one thing. Now, as you know, they have approval going back, you said, to 2010. How many approvals, can you explain to the public the approval process? They're entitled to get an approval, subsequent renewals, and what does this do for them and does it do for the town?
Repeat that last part?
Okay.
Sorry.
They have an approval,
Yes.
2010, it's now
Yes.
2018. They've come and gotten 3 subsequent renewals, or 2 additional from the original?
We are looking for the second reapproval of the process. So
What were the
to
other
the be-
ones?
To the best of my knowledge of how this works, we came before the town for a site plan approval with other approvals with that, wetland, subdivision, and special permit. We received those permits and approvals in 2010.
Okay,
We requested extensions of approval for those because we could not get a user to come in. We were allowed 3 extensions, and then you have to come back for a renewal and reapproval of all of that stuff. So we've done this. This is the second go-round.
so if you have now a second go-round, how many approvals go with this go-round? Is this a final one? Can
Probably
they come-
3 extensions is what I
Yeah,
think.
so,
You're asking for extensions.
I'm trying to find out
Yeah.
the length of time.
So each approval is valid for 1 year,
Okay.
and then they're eligible to get 3 extensions, 3 one-year extensions of that approval. So for a total of, a site plan approval can potentially be valid for 4 years. And once that last extension has expired, the applicant is required to come back to the town for a reapproval of the project. And at that time, that gives the town the opportunity to look to see if any background conditions have changed that would change the impacts of the project. So as part of this reapproval, we asked them to reflag the wetlands. We asked for some updated traffic information and other potential impacts that could be associated with this project were looked at.
So this is a reapproval.
This is a reapproval.
Okay, and how long does this reapproval last?
It
1 year?
would last for 1 year, and then they would be eligible for up to 3 extensions.
Okay, let's say at the end of the 3 extension, which I hope it doesn't go that long, can they do it again?
They would then have to come back for another reapproval at that time.
How many can they do?
Forever.
Forever?
Reapprovals, there's no cap on reapprovals.
Okay. Thank you. Town board?
Yes. I would like to hopefully keep the public hearing open tonight, even if there's no comment, because I don't think our wetlands inspector has gotten to go out and look at the flagging, and I want to make sure that that's all the same. I know it's pro forma, but I would feel a lot more comfortable keeping the public hearing open. Also, if anything's found, I don't want to have the applicant have to renotice everyone. So it's my opinion. And I know the DOT still had some.
They came back today. I
Yeah,
believe.
well, it's, yeah. But I'm concerned, I know the wetlands inspector is going out tomorrow.
Yes,
I
that
believe.
is, our understanding is that he's going out to the site tomorrow. We did have contact with him prior to. He asked that we reflag certain areas of critical importance, and he will be reviewing those flags tomorrow.
Right. So I would just feel more comfortable keeping the public hearing open and voting on it after he's
Would
inspected
we-
everything.
Would we
That's
be able to close with the comment period, giving him the option to comment during that period instead of keeping the public hearing open?
That's, I'm sure the board would entertain that. I would rather.
Yeah, I think that would probably be fine, because something tells me that the fact that Mr. Coleman couldn't make it out there might be just a real a pro forma thing. I don't know however many people are here tonight to otherwise comment on the matter. I mean, if Ashley wants to weigh in on it.
Just to comment, so Steve Coleman will be going out tomorrow. He did receive the plans this week, so there wasn't a lot of time for him to get out there. And then in regards to the DOT issue, there was an approval, a conditional approval in 2010. We have an updated letter that was received on Monday, which asked for some additional analysis. I spoke with DOT today. They're taking a look at all the files that I sent them. They hadn't been able to locate them prior to writing that letter that we received this week. They've now located the additional files. I think we should give them some time to get back to the town, so I think it would be appropriate to leave the public hearing open.
Is there any time constraints on the project itself when they have to have this last approval? No time frame? Okay.
No, and I would think we could act on this within 2 weeks at our next meeting, unless there's something that, I just want to give the public an opportunity to comment if something has changed. I don't think it will, and I also think it's easier rather than to notice it again. So that's my opinion, the board, obviously. might
Could
have
we act
other-
on it on our next meeting, which is May 10th, Ashley? So if we have we close the public hearing, can we then move forward?
You can close the public hearing and act on the same evening. So if you were to leave it open and then you had the public hearing next meeting, nobody came, nobody had any comments, you could still close it and act on it at that meeting.
I'm definitely opposed to that. I've seen it happen in this town before, and I don't like that process. What I would make a recommendation, have them have their comments to us by June 6th, close the public hearing for written comments by June 6th, and then vote on it May 10th.
You mean May 6th,
May.
Usually it's a 10-day, we wait 10 days.
Well, that's what we're kind of
leave
giving
the
them now.
comment
Give
period
them till
open.
May
Right.
6th, that's 10 days,
Mhm.
and then we can vote on it May 10th.
But then would we, a question for Ashley, if we close the public hearing tonight and we get comment? No, you are
We'll
saying
keep it
to,
open for 10
Okay.
days. We're gonna keep it open till May 6th
For comments?
for
or-
comments.
Okay.
And that gives you guys time to
And the
answer to
hearing's
us
not
by
open.
May 10th, and we can approve it that evening.
Well, then the hearing is closed, and you're taking written comments, you're not
right,
leaving
Yes,
the hearing
that's
open.
different. I'm
Well,
saying,
no, we're only taking written comments. The public's verbal content is tonight, in my mind.
Right, so I guess the
Okay.
issue would be is if a letter came back from Steve Coleman or from the DOT, the public wouldn't have an opportunity to review
Right.
that letter and respond to it at a public meeting.
that's why I want to keep the public hearing open. I don't see that there's a huge rush. I don't want to hold up the applicant. If there was something that was super important, I think we could act otherwise. But I think until we have this information back, it's a better policy to keep the hearing open.
Okay, but I'm gonna tell you now, it'd have to be unanimous to pass it on the 10th, and I would not do that.
Right.
So wait till the meeting after that.
Yeah.
The 24th.
Yeah.
I just want to go on record that I'm not doing the same night.
Right.
Okay.
No, and I understand that. I don't like that policy either, so I'm happy. Will the end of May, it's 24th is our next?
The
is our-
24th.
That would work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
And
All right.
that would
Uh,
give
that-
DOT more time, which I think
Yes,
they need.
yes. I mean, I don't foresee anything, but I still would rather err on the side of caution here.
So, Michelle, our next meeting is May 10th?
Yes.
Okay.
May
So May 10th, we close the
Continue
public hearing,
Right.
and then 2 weeks later, we vote on the
Right.
matter.
If there's no.
Right.
Well, no, they got 2
comments,
weeks.
yeah.
We'll vote
Yeah.
2 weeks later,
Yeah,
regardless.
unless there's some huge thing
Yeah.
that no one.
I mean, but if everything pans out from Steve Coleman as well as DOT, and there's no written comments, why couldn't we vote on May 10th then? I
It's a
mean,
personal matter that
Yeah.
I've experienced with this town.
no, I understand that, but
No,
we're gonna wait another 2 weeks?
2 weeks at this point in
Yeah.
time, after 8 years?
Well,
Yeah.
but what we're saying is, my recollection is that that was part of one of those resolutions, is that you said that you didn't want, that you don't have a vote the
Public-
same night
public
as the
hearing.
public hearing.
And that's
Right.
what's gonna happen.
Unless there would have to be unanimous consent, and Tony's telling us right now that he wouldn't vote in favor, so we wouldn't have the unanimous consent to act that night. And I understand that, and I feel.
So we close it
strongly
on the
about
10th,
that.
and we vote on the
Yeah.
24th. Does that
Yeah.
meet timeline for you?
We're fine with that.
Okay,
Okay.
Thank
Is it
you.
public comment?
yeah.
Public comment.
I just have a quick question for you. Has the wetland changed? Like, have they done new wetland maps since 2009 through 2010?
Who's they?
They, I don't know, the Army Corps of Engineers, whoever does the wetlands maps.
To the best of my knowledge, the wetlands on site have not changed.
Great, thank you. And Kathy Croft, just for the record.
Any other public comment? Okay, I'll move this to the May 10th meeting to continue the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you. Nothing on the work session this evening. Regular meeting correspondence, waive the reading of the correspondence, approve of the voucher list.
Excuse me, Tony.
I make a motion to go into regular meeting. Which one here?
We gotta close the.
Public hearing, oh,
No,
public
we
hearing wasn't
got it,
closed?
So we're not.
Okay.
got it.
Motion to close public hearing?
No, we're
No,
not
no.
closing it.
Oh, wait, we did that though, not
Yeah, you
close
did
it.
do it.
So we're just
Said
opening up the
10.
regular meeting.
Okay. Work session, nothing there. Make a motion to go into the regular portion of our meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, waive the reading of the correspondence. Number 2, approval of the voucher list, $971,072.35. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All meetings will be held at 1360 Route 22, Brewster, New York, at 7 p.m. unless otherwise noted, Thursday, May 10, 2018. And of course, we have the public hearing continuation of State Line. And Thursday, May 24th, 2018. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Waive the reading of the budget transfers. Next is 5, it's a resolution, IDA benefits, Fox Ridge. Now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Southeast hereby authorizes and approves the following tax abatement schedule to be applied only to so much of the assessed valuation of the subject premises applicable solely to the improvements made pursuant to the IDA benefit package and contemplated herein under. Year 1, 50%. Year 2, 45%. Year 3, 40%. Year 4, 35%. Year 5, 30%. Year 6, 25%. Year 7, 20%. Year 8, 15%. Year 9, 10%. Year 10, 5%. Resolved that the town clerk of the town of Southeast be and is hereby authorized and directed to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to the Putnam County Industrial Development Agency, the assessor of the town of Southeast, and the town of Southeast receiver of taxes. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion.
I have lots to say.
Pardon?
I have a lot to say on this
We'll let
one.
you go last. Okay.
Sorry, Michael.
It's all right.
And
I have my youngest associate with me.
I
so
know,
there's a
that's going to
lot.
be the killer for me. He's
He's
so
got the
cute.
look.
Please look at his
Oh.
arm.
He looks how I feel.
Poor guy. Yeah, you can hate me because I made your dad come tonight. Or I thought I didn't, but anyhow, I don't know, do you have any answers for me from what I emailed to you?
Yeah, I'll try to answer as much as I can. If you want to run through, I didn't have a chance to get back to my office to get my file, but I almost have everything committed to memory.
And I want to thank you because I thought your replies were very thorough, and that was very helpful. Did you get a breakdown on, well, let me start with this because, and this isn't involving you, so you don't have to stand there if you don't want, but I want to read everyone the mission of the IDA as it's stated on the IDA, Putnam County IDA website, and that is, the mission of the IDA is to retain the present industrial tax base in Putnam County and help attract clean, environmentally sensitive manufacturing and industrial interests to the county. I've said it before, and I will say it again, I do not believe this is manufacturing or industrial. I know it will generate some jobs, but I don't think this really fits the bill at all as far as their mission statement for the IDA. I don't think this should fall under their auspices. I think because this is surrounded, is nearby residential, it's certainly fine to have a hotel there. I'm all for the hotel that's going to be there, but I do have some concerns. Most of them, and I really think doing due diligence is really important. I did drive to Stamford to see 2 other motels that were owned by the applicant. One was very nice, one wasn't great, but I felt much better having gone to see it. I think where I have the biggest problems is in the money that is actually going to be given up. And is there a I'll just go over those really fast. Over a 10-year period, the county will lose about $33,000, and thank you, Michael, for these, $33,770. The town of Southeast will lose $34,560. The Brewster Central School District will lose $327,195, and the sales tax revenue lost will be about $65,000. So the total revenues lost or subsidized will be $488,516. I understand we're being told that he won't come here, the applicant will not buy this without these subsidies. I just don't feel that they are warranted. That's only my opinion, and I think I'm going to be outvoted tonight. But I did want to make it clear that I think on something like this, due diligence is really important. I think the public really deserves to know what exactly, how pilot works. I know we will, and they can, I mean, you were helpful on also bed tax and all of that. I mean, your charts were very, very helpful on this. Also, on Connecticut taxes, I'm told that's who we're competing with. But they're, just to put something into the mix, which I was interested to find out, that the hotel tax or occupancy tax in Connecticut's 15%. In Putnam County, it would be the same as our sales tax, so it would be considerably less money.
Right, but those are taxes that are paid directly by the occupants of the hotel.
Right.
Versus the hotel operator. The significant difference in tax rate when you compare across the state line is Danbury's got a tax rate of $28. It's actually 28.95 per thousand with a 70% assessment rate. So if you take the Holiday Inn Express, which is a 77-room hotel, that's 89 Mill Plain Road. We are a 57-room hotel. Right. That assessment at 70% is $4,153,000. So their annual tax bill is $120,000. They have 20 more rooms, which means they have a greater percentage for income. Where you earn your revenue in your hotel. I'm sorry, guys, for my little guy running around the table.
No, it's
but the place in the business where you generate your most profit is after 50 rooms. The average hotel is about 100 rooms. Okay, so even the Holiday Inn is a little small compared to the competitor. The Hilton Garden Inn has 100. Crown Plaza's got more than 100. Hotel 0 Degrees is over 100. But that's where you have your greatest business impact is that over 50 mark. So we're shy because we have the 57. We don't have those extra rooms. But if you analyze a hotel that's presently constructed and generating revenue and has historical revenue with an assessment of $4,153,000 compared to the Fox Ridge, which is about 65% complete but assessed at $3,990,000, that's paying taxes at 36.6% per thousand. That's $187,000 a year, and we're not operating yet. So when you look at the disparities or when you look at the difference in what you would pay, that's very significant. So for Shelley Nachani, who has come here to look at that project, look at our project, and be interested in buying our project, it was a pretty significant decision to buy a project that's under construction versus just finding one that's already built and throwing off revenue. So, it was a big decision, and, it's a gamble to come here and do that in a market that has no comparison whatsoever. So, and that's why the IDA benefits are really critical for this project. So for him to come do his pro forma, look at what he can generate based on what he's going to invest, those benefits, and look, it's a subsidy. I would never argue that it's not a subsidy. It's absolutely a subsidy. And in my memo to the board, when you look at who needs a subsidy versus who gets subsidies, the people who need subsidies are not the ones that are getting subsidized. I mean, if you're coming to the IDA to build a $5 million factory, trust me, the guy that's applying for the factory individually probably doesn't need the money. But on a project scale, when you're doing the comparison of rate of return, that's an important aspect of it. To the IDA purpose, the only thing I could say to that is that the general municipal law was revised. The general municipal law governs IDAs. It was revised to include hotels. The purpose for the revision to include hotels, it's not because they create a significant amount of jobs. It's not because of the industrial, revenue that's generated from manufacturing. It's because of the ancillary benefits that hotels provide by being in your community. So people come, they spend time in your community. We don't have that here other than motels, but people will come to hotels. They'll come here for business. They'll have dinner here. They'll frequent the businesses. And that's what the state legislature was thinking about when they decided to include hotels in their expanding the authority for the IDA to grant those benefits.
Right, and my problem here is that proximity, there is no guarantee, and there never is, that people are going to stay and eat and shop and do everything in Putnam when we're so close to the border. That's just where it is. But
Right, I mean, but if we were in Carmel and this hotel was in Carmel, it would be, we'd probably have a different story. It's
Right.
unique to us because we're on the border.
Exactly, and also, I think it's frustrating to me because we are always assuring our constituents that, that these projects will generate a lot in tax revenue, and we really need them. And then when we do this, I think we're being a little bit hypocritical. Because also, the other thing I worry about is when we have another hotel that's been proposed and it's not through the process yet, but why wouldn't they come? I mean, that whole project was promising a lot of revenue, and of course, to me, it would be difficult to turn down another hotel after awarding these subsidies to
Yeah,
another hotel.
I think
this is my concern, it's not your problem.
No,
it's mine.
understood, and it's a valid concern. I think you could expect that the next hotel to come through here is going to look for IDA benefits.
Yeah, I
and
do
any
too.
other project that could qualify for IDA benefits are going to apply for it, because as long as it's available, I mean, just, put your business owner hat on.
Right.
Why wouldn't you apply for if you qualify, why wouldn't you apply for them? And, the New York State Legislature, through the general municipal law, has said, these benefits are available. I kind of liken it to, the agricultural tax exemption. This is, it's a method of using tax policy to generate a particular type of business. And that's really all it comes down to, is the legislature of the state of New York has said, these are the following things that we want to subsidize. So we provide the following exemptions or subsidies or, whatever it is. And so this happens to be one of those. And the thing that's really unique about this particular situation is that, we spent over 2 years looking for a buyer, trying to negotiate a short sale agreement with Putnam County Savings Bank to facilitate the deal. We came close twice. The first time we had an offer that was very close to the one that Nichani has agreed to, and it was rejected by Putnam County Savings Bank. And I think the rationale for the rejection was, at the time, they were going public. They didn't want to book the loss that they would have taken that year, so they rejected our offer. But if we would have went with offer number one, they would have had their money back, the same amount of money they're getting 3 years later or 2.5 years later. They would have been paid that money at that time. But look, I can't speak for the bank. They're booking a huge loss. The property owner is losing the property and over $1 million. The tenant, which is the son of the property owner, he's out almost 1.5 million, 1.1 in straight cash. The rest is in liquidating investments and opportunity. So to have someone to come in to buy a hotel that's under construction or mid-construction, it's a big risk. And he was, Mr. Nichani was pretty clear with us that and it's a condition of our contract that if he won't do the deal unless he gets the benefits. And look, it's not to say it's not a threat or anything. It's just the reality.
It doesn't feel good, though.
No, I know
It
it
just
doesn't.
doesn't,
And look, I can appreciate that. But it's a very significant factor in this particular situation, coming in at this point.
Right.
If he stepped in the door day one and said, "Hey, I want to do this thing," certainly. If you guys said, "Hey, look, we're not willing to offer those benefits," go ahead, do it if you want. If you don't, goodbye. I could understand that.
Right.
But anyway, that's what I have. As far as the jobs are concerned, there's most hotels that are this size will generate about 15 jobs. The manager of the hotel has the highest salary. It's going to be between 50 and 60,000. We'll have 2 assistant managers. You'll have the buffet person that'll operate the continental breakfast. They'll manage that with an assistant, and in an effort to keep the jobs at full time but not go over full time, you'll need to have a rotating shift of people. So house cleaners, there'll be about 6 or 7 house cleaners, and a few other jobs in between. But the total for the hotel based on the other businesses that Mr. Nachani has, is about 15.
His other hotels were 99 rooms each, I think, the two I
About-
looked at.
Yeah,
Is that
those,
right?
exactly.
So this would be a little bit small.
This would be, yeah, it is.
Right,
With
at
57,
57.
obviously, you're not going to have as much housekeeping staff. And,
Right.
you know, we have 2 conference rooms or 1 big conference room space, so there isn't going to be a lot of booking that has to go along with that. But the day-to-day concerns of the hotel would take about 15,
Right.
require 15
Right.
people.
And even, I mean, the one thing I would argue on, because I argue about everything, but is when you say it's like a pass-through, like the 15% hotel, well, the occupancy tax in Danbury, say, or in Connecticut versus, I mean, all of these taxes are passed through, otherwise you can't.
Not real property taxes.
Well, but you, I mean, you have to charge, your room rates are going to have to be based on being whole, you know, making some money, so.
Yeah, of course.
So even though something's tacked on top, you're still.
I'm not arguing about the
Okay.
tack on top, right?
Okay.
Well, the only thing I'm saying is that, you know, let's say the underlying room rate is $115 a night. If Putnam County charges 8.25% of a room tax,
It's okay.
whatever it is, you know, 15.
Too much.
Yeah,
but-
whatever that is, that gets passed directly on to the consumer. It's a
Right.
direct pass-through. So
Right,
there's
that it is more direct,
it's
absolutely.
There's an expectation that when you book a room, that you're likely going to pay an occupancy tax. It's going to be on top of the rate.
Right.
But the property taxes, you don't get your invoice for your room, and in it is your slice of the real property tax.
No.
And that's my point.
Okay. And the $65,000 on sales tax, do you know how that figure was
Yeah,
generated?
we took what the present estimates were for the completion of the hotel, and backed out the labor, and that is an estimate of what we think are going. So let's say we have $650,000 that's specific to goods. That's what the sales tax benefit would be on. Take 10% is $65,000.
Okay. So, but the sales tax that's collected as the occupancy tax.
That's different.
That's different.
No.
That's-
This is the
You're
owner.
the building.
This is
Okay.
you as an individual paying sales tax for goods to build something.
Okay, all right.
That's not occupancy tax. That's totally separate.
Okay. I think, as I said, I think this puts our town in between a rock and a hard place, which has nothing to do with you or your client. It really is because of other things that are planned for the town. So unfortunately, I won't be supporting this tonight.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure that you had as much information as possible. I'm in agreement. I think everybody should understand what the IDA does and how it operates. The IDA does have a public hearing for each project.
And they will for this.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Yeah. So, it's not like it all goes on behind closed doors. The meetings are public. I think the reality is people just really don't know that it's there, or just don't have a significant amount of interest, whatever it is. But we have a public notice in the newspaper. We typically have the public hearing in town hall, in the town where the project is proposed. It is during the week, during business hours, but that's when we operate. So, or that's when the IDA operates. I can't say we,
Right.
but
Well, I think they meet at 6 in the evening.
They do.
so-
They meet
So
in the-
hopefully they can at least do a meeting at that time of day.
well, no, all the meetings are at 6 p.m. But if you have a preference for a public hearing to be
Yeah.
at that time, then certainly I don't think they would have an issue with it.
No, I spoke to Bill Nolk, and we were talking about that, and I don't think they do, but that we can cross that bridge when we come to it, so.
Well, thank you.
Anyhow, I've taken up too much time, but thank you, Michael.
Appreciate it. Thanks for hosting us.
Anything else on the board?
Do you have any?
I mean, I think Lynn's right, we're between a rock and a hard place, unfortunately, at this point in time. I know a lot of people who see that hotel and don't believe that it's ever going to really be developed, and it looks like a white elephant. So, under the circumstances, hopefully what it'll do is, it'll, I don't know how many alternatives we have. Will it be knocked down? Will there be a bulldozer there? Can we build something else, or is it just going to sit there and lie fallow during a period of time when I'd like to see something look like it's being developed? And I think Mike was extremely upfront and very candid with his responses, and I do appreciate him being here tonight. I mostly appreciate his son being here. But that being said, I'm going to be voting for the project. I'd like to see something that we can be proud of instead of what is sitting there right now today.
As we all know, the project has been sitting there for well over 10 years at this point in time. And the things we're discussing this evening about tax breaks would have been over by now and moved on. I do have some concerns as well, like Lynn has brought up. I have a gentleman out here in the audience this evening, has a motel just up the road, always goes unnoticed. And it's kind of unfair to him, but if he was building his hotel today, he would be able to apply for these benefits. And it's my understanding the previous motel had these benefits offered to them?
Yes, so the original benefits were granted in 2009. March 23rd of '09, we closed with the Putnam County IDA with the identical benefits.
So
We've never taken advantage of the
No.
pilot because we didn't get to the CO, the point of the CO being issued.
But the process started back then. If the original applicant was here this evening, he'd be applying for basically the same thing to continue
thing.
forward.
Yeah.
Fine. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I wondered if hotels are profitable after 100 rooms, and this one is just going to barely be profitable at 57. Well,
Mike,
that's your
would you
rule of
just come
thumb?
up to the mic
Yeah.
and talk?
You can bring him.
Yeah.
Bring him up, it's fine.
I'm just wondering, is
So-
there future?
No, it will be profitable. So there's a method of reporting for hotels. It's called the Smith Travel Research Report. That's an industry report that we look at for market trends. With a 100-room hotel, under the Smith Travel Research Report, it's anticipated that you will reach 50% occupancy each night. And what's interesting is that with a 57-room hotel, you take that information and you plug it into the Smith Travel Research Report, you could argue that you'll have full occupancy every single night. So I'm not going to say that that's realistic because I don't think that's realistic. But what we do think is realistic is 70% occupancy. It's not going to be off the bat, but when the hotel stabilizes, which should take about 3 years for that to happen, we're anticipating mid-50s in the first year, and then hopefully ramping up in years 2 and 3. Mr. Nachani has a former manager who managed for him that manages for Hilton Garden Inn, so he's negotiating an agreement to take their overflow. There are things that we can do to generate business, but so the hotel will be profitable, but in order to have, let's say, an exceptional year, it would be fantastic to have rooms, 57 to 67, 67 to 77, 77 to 87, because those are, when you reach that level of occupancy with a 100-room hotel, that's when you're really making money, okay?
So do they anticipate building?
Yeah, the plan is after stabilization to come back to the town board. I have an additional submittal to the Putnam County Industrial Development Agency with our full build plan. And the full build plan would have another 57 rooms. And the way the hotel is currently configured, the porte-cochere is on the right-hand side, the lobby is on the right-hand side. It was designed that way to facilitate additional rooms going out in that direction, or potentially just another building on the other side.
And would you then apply for another IDA at that time?
The application.
Or is that possible to do that at that time?
It is possible. The
Okay.
application to the IDA is for the current project, but what we wanted to do is categorize the current project as the 50. We identified what the whole project would look like so that they were aware in 2018 of what the intent was. The application right now is only limited to what is out there right now.
Okay, but this potentially could go on another 15, 20 years.
It could.
Okay.
It could. Very similar to, I'll bring up Ace Indigo. Ace
Right.
Indigo came to the town in 2004 with a full build analysis, 283,000 square feet. In 2017, we closed on the most recent expansion. which was granted IDA benefits, but they went in with the full build, with the plan to achieve those benefits on that full build. And to me, that's, you know, while it's subsidized in the sense that there's a reduction in taxes, that is that's the marker of the success of the project, of why those benefits are out there.
But we did have the full build then, and we don't the town board anyhow, I know the IDA does, but we don't have that plan.
Which one?
We don't know about
No, that's right. I have not submitted the full build plan to the town.
Okay, because I think that is important to me.
And,
Sorry, John.
I'm sorry.
And it's not an approved plan. It's just
No, I know.
you know, it's an engineering sketch, but it
Now-
shows what our intent is.
The IDA, do they have to, they're the ones that are going to be granting the pilot, right? This is a formality coming to the different
So,
venues?
in my response, I noted what the law says, that we don't have to go to any municipality other than the county IDA. It has that authority.
Okay.
I don't think the Putnam County IDA has ever been in a position where a municipality has said, we are not granting benefits, and where the IDA then went ahead and acted. I don't,
correct.
with the politics the way they are, I don't expect that to happen. You know, if push came to shove, you know, my response, I think in my memo was, I guess we would see what would happen at that point if the IDA how long the IDA members wanted to be on the board. Because I think if they took an action that was contrary to a municipality, there'd be some pretty significant blowback at the county level.
Right.
So I wouldn't presume that they would do anything other than what the municipalities wanted.
Okay, thanks. Well, that's getting into something. I was just wondering if they have the septic there, capacity to afford a build out, further build out.
Okay, so I'll give you the rundown on the septic system, just as an FYI. Right now, the septic system, in order to, I'm going to just give you some history here. When the project was, when we had the original building permit in 2008 and 9, there was a building permit issued after a settlement with the town of Southeast in 2005. That was actually issued in 06. We went to build on that permit in 09, and we had an entanglement with the town. The building permit was revoked. At the time, that septic system was approved for 14,460 gallons per day. When we finished all the litigation, got back to the DEP, the agreement was we'd have to chop the system in half so that we had half for use for the hotel. The other half was the quote-unquote 100% reserve. So as of right now, we have an approval for 5,800 gallons per day of septic. If we wanted to build any expansion on that property, what we'd have to do is build another septic system. I think what is out there is sacrosanct. I don't think there'd be any changes to what's out there. The one thing that I do believe is that with the according to our engineers, with the low water fixtures that we have now and the technology, I don't get the technology, but maybe they flush less water, you know.
Yeah.
But what we're anticipating is about 3,700 gallons per day, which would give us 2,000 gallons per day for some additional use. That's not enough for another 57 rooms, but it gives us a little bit of wiggle room. We'd have to locate a new septic system, or if the county came in with the line, at that point, we would have the full capability of building out that 12.5 acre property. Because with that septic system, then we have enough water. So then we'd be able to utilize what the zoning code allows.
So no real study of the topography was
No, we're
done
familiar
to-
with the geology, with the topography.
But they would be able to locate another septic system on the property in the event that they needed one?
We believe that we can, although that study, the Gillens were going to do that, but unfortunately, we just didn't get to it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for your
Edwin?
time.
Just, I think we've vetted it out, and a lot of great questions, and thanks for all your responses, Mike. But I agree, there's not too many options, and to me, it's not an option to just leave it alone and just sit there and get nothing done. And if we were giving the IDA benefits to the previous applicant, I don't see why we shouldn't extend the same courtesy to the current one. So I'm in favor of this. Thank you.
Any last comment?
Yeah,
No.
Sorry, just really quickly. Well, I do want the public to know, and Mike was very helpful on this, that, that the applicant or the owner can grieve their taxes even when they've, assessment, even though they've, and it would affect it would affect the subsidy. Also, you had mentioned that our town attorney can take a look at the contract.
Yeah, we supplied the pilot to the town. It has to be signed by the supervisor.
Right.
So
Okay.
it would be subject to review.
Okay, and I do wish there, I know there will be a chance for public input, because I do feel badly for our pre-existing motels and inns, so I hope that they can comment at that, and thank you again. That's it.
Okay, roll call vote.
Councilman Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Eckhart.
No.
Councilwoman Hudak.
Yes.
Councilman Lord.
No.
Supervisor Hay.
Yes. Passes 3-2.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Number 6, resolution, SCAC approval renovation of 67 Main Street. Now therefore be resolved that SCAC, which stands for Southeast Cultural Arts Coalition, is hereby authorized to move forward with the plan of renovation of 67 Main Street in the manner and substance set forth in conceptual plans entitled Southeast Old Town Hall, Restoration and Adaptive Reuse by Archie Siegel, architect, dated November 15, 2017, and is hereby authorized to utilize such plan as part of its effort to obtain grant funding, and be further resolved that nothing herein shall be deemed an approval of final plans or as an approval of any modifications to the front facade of 60 Main Street building. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to ask for help on number
Yep.
7 and 8. Save my voice.
I am going to read number 7. Whereas the state of New York has established the Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program, acronym CHIPS, to assist localities in meeting the ever-growing needs to maintain and improve public local roads. And whereas the New York State Legislature allocates funds to each local municipality for highway improvements pursuant to a formula, and such funds are appropriated to the municipalities as part of the annual state budget, and whereas Section 284 of the Highway Law of the State of New York, hereinafter Highway Law, contemplates that the town highway superintendent and town board enter into an agreement designating how funds received in state aid for road and highway improvement are to be spent in a manner designating locations and the amounts to be spent for specified road improvements. And whereas since 2014, the Southeast Town Board has made numerous requests of the Southeast Highway Superintendent that such designations and expenditures be identified, agreed upon, and approved annually by the Southeast Town Board prior to allocating and expending CHIPS and road repair funding. And whereas since all requests to date have gone unheeded and without acknowledgement by the Southeast Highway Superintendent, the last being sent in a letter dated April 3, 2018, the Town Board deems further action is necessary. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Southeast Town Board demands that the Southeast Highway Superintendent provide the following: a full accounting of CHIPS and road repair funding allocated, received, and expended in 2014, identifying roads and mileage of each road repair in each instance; a full accounting of CHIPS and road repair funding allocated, received, and expended in 2015, identifying roads and mileage of each road repair in each instance; a full accounting of CHIPS and road repair funding allocated, received, and expended in 2016, identifying roads and mileage of each road repair in each instance; a full accounting of CHIPS and road repair funding allocated, received, and expended in 2017, identifying roads and mileage of each road repair in each instance; a full accounting of CHIPS and road repair funding allocated to the town of Southeast in 2018, together with a list identifying roads and mileage of each road repair in each instance, together with the estimated cost of each repair for the town's board's review and approval. And be it further resolved that should the highway superintendent fail to provide the information set forth above to the Southeast Town Board on or before May 24, 2018, then the town board shall take any and all actions available to it by law to enforce this resolution and the highway superintendent's compliance with Section 284 of the Highway Law, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to deliver a certified copy of this resolution to the highway superintendent forthwith.
Moved.
I'll second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 8 is a resolution extension of Blackberry Sewer District petition of Parkland.
I will read the resolves. Resolved and determined that the notice of hearing was published and posted as required by law and is otherwise sufficient. B, that all property and property owners within the proposed extension district are benefited thereby. C, that all property and property owners benefited are included within the limits of the proposed district. And D, that it is in the public interest to extend the Blackberry Sewer District, and be it further resolved and determined that the extension of the Blackberry Sewer District and the construction of the necessary improvements to the existing water systems serving the residents within the proposed district are deemed to be an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and that it is hereby declared that such action is not likely to have an adverse impact on the environment, and be it further resolved and determined that the Blackberry Sewer District will assume ownership and control of the sewage collection system and system of pumps, pipes, and conduits within the extension area once completed by the petitioner applicant and free and clear of encumbrances. And be it further resolved and determined that the amount proposed to be expended for the improvement by the town or the Blackberry Sewer District is $0, and the estimated or projected cost to the typical property owner within the proposed extension district is $1,064 per annum. And be it further resolved and determined that the extension of the Blackberry Sewer District encompassing the lot, parcel, and piece of real property described as 306 Tenetta Lake Road, tax map number 56, period, 12-1-1, parentheses, the premises, close parentheses, is hereby granted, parentheses, subject to approval of the Office of the New York State Comptroller if necessary, close parentheses, and on the conditions, A, the petitioner applicant shall post with the town clerk the necessary performance security in an amount specified by the town engineer and approved by this town board, and B, all necessary work to connect to the Blackberry Sewer District wastewater treatment plant shall be completed, and all fees for the connection to such district shall be paid within 1 year of the adoption of this order. And be it further resolved and determined that this order and resolution shall be subject to permissive referendum as provided by the town law of the state of New York. And be it further resolved and determined that the town clerk be and hereby is authorized and directed to publish a copy of this resolution in the official newspaper of the town of Southeast forthwith, and upon the passage of 30 days after the adoption of this resolution, and no adequate petition for a referendum having been filed, shall file a certified copy of this order and resolution with the office of the clerk of the county of Putnam, which is the county in which said town of Southeast is located, and in the office of the State Department of Audit and Control within the time required by law.
So moved. Is there a second?
I second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9 is the supervisor's financial report, which is in front of you this evening. Basically, no change to date, which is a good thing. I hope this happens till the end of the year. I'll be very, very happy. Happy, Lynn?
I am.
Oh, good for you. Okay, number 10, it's a motion. Now, at our last meeting, we appointed Jerry Schrammick to our parking enforcement officer, and I was told after the meeting that he was hired as a parking and code enforcement officer. Tonight, there's a motion then to appoint him as a parking and code enforcement officer. Jerry had applied for the position of evening park monitor, which is someone out, just so you know, that all the fields, we have a lot of geese, a big problem with geese here. And this year we decided to go out and hire someone to go around to the parks every evening and shoot off kind of like a cap gun. We notified the local police departments, made them aware that it's happening, so no one goes out and says, hey, there's someone up there shooting off a gun. It doesn't look like a gun, acts like a gun, sounds like a gun, but all they do is chasing the geese because it's really pretty bad. So every evening they're going out there doing that. He applied for that, and at about the same time, the code enforcement officer and park enforcement officer was leaving. I made him aware of that position, and he said he was interested. He was interviewed by the town board and was accepted. So on the motion, I move it.
Second?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Public recognition. Up to the mic if you don't mind, please.
I think it's too late now since everyone voted on the
Well,
IDA for Fox.
You can still make
No,
comments.
I
there's-
understood that I would be able to
Well, there's,
ask questions about that.
well, there's still a public hearing coming up on it. So you will have, not by us, but by the county, but you can talk to us in the meantime
Yeah.
and apply
Okay.
for that application.
The purpose of the IDA, from what I understand, is for jobs and it sounds like everyone up here was, or most up here were concerned that the buyer didn't walk away. But that's not the purpose, to keep a buyer so that the place, the Fox Ridge, somebody will buy it eventually at the right price. So I don't understand the idea, I guess, is.
I agree with you. That was, one of my points
Yeah.
is I do, but I.
So
think
if the buyer would walk because he didn't get this approval, fine.
Well,
I mean, it's not a, it sounds like a lot of you were voting based off of not letting the place get bulldozed down versus,
Mine wasn't that way. We've had other IDA projects here in the town. I don't believe I've had the opportunity to vote on them. But it's to bring the business into the area, not that a person walks. Very
well, for
rarely.
jobs.
And
They're,
jobs.
they're gonna bring a manager out of Westchester, doesn't live in Putnam,
Well,
15 jobs, I don't agree with that number, it's probably a dozen, from my experience.
Well, it's about helping out the economy. It's not just, it is about jobs as far as state's concerned mostly, but it affects many, many other things. I think it affects the land values here in the town, like that project's been up there for now, like I said before, well over 10 years. Going absolutely nowhere, it looks like heck. First item they see when they come into New York State. And I just think it's a good benefit. I know it hurts you personally, and I do apologize for that.
Well-
But hopefully someday you'll build and you'll seek the exemption, and we'll give it to you as well.
I think a big problem for us, as I stated, is with the other possible hotel property on the horizon, that it will be very difficult for a future board, not just us, but the future boards, because we have to look forward to turn down IDA benefits. And I agree with you, and I think if Putnam County has an IDA, they're going to have to change their mission statement, because it is about manufacturing and industrial jobs. That is their mission. So I think I was pretty clear on it, and I think everyone else,
It seemed, sorry, but it seemed a lot of you were afraid of the buyer walking, and that's not what the vote was about.
He can still walk. Even though he gets
He
these
can still-
benefits, if it's not profitable for him, he's gonna be history. No guarantees.
And it's not guaranteed that the IDA is going to approve
Right.
it, but I don't see how they wouldn't, since
Right.
this board.
I believe every board now, I think that still, the county still has to vote, and you will have time to speak to the county. They cannot vote, they haven't had a presentation, so I don't believe they'll vote in their May meeting, not until June. I believe the school board did pass it this past week, and you will also have the opportunity, and I hope it will be here, to speak up to the IDA, and I hope you will come, because I think it's really important, not just for, I think it's important for other residents in Southeast to know that $488,000 is being lost, and that,
Right.
that in the future.
The property will open,
Yeah.
even if that buyer walks. Someone will buy it, the price will go down, it'll be
Right.
profitable at the right price, the sale price.
I've been wrong many times, so I could be wrong again, but I happen to agree.
But your concern, sir, is that simply because the town and county is losing taxes, or is there any other concern that you have with the
Well-
IDA funding?
The taxes. I
That's
can't,
your-
I don't
that's your-
want to be up here speaking about my own personal, needs, about not wanting competition. It's going to happen. But to lose the taxes, just so the building doesn't get bulldozed, which I don't think it's going to happen anyway,
that
a
won't.
buyer will come along at the right price. So,
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Town board?
Thanks for John reminding me to talk about the Bob Palmer project that's going to go on this weekend on Saturday, where they'll be placing flags on veterans' graves. It'll be at Milltown Rural Cemetery. The muster's at 9 a.m. for anybody who's interested in attending and volunteering. And then there'll be an afternoon one at St. Lawrence Methodist Cemetery, and muster's at 1 p.m.
It's a really great event, so I would urge anyone, hopefully we'll have good weather, and I would urge anyone to go. I'll speak really briefly about Earth Day. We'll have our final stats at our next meeting. There were fewer participants this year, but they collected more garbage. The roads really are in rough shape. So I just want to thank everyone who participated, and I will be talking about it more in May.
I attended the Brewster Village. They passed their budget, and again, without exceeding the tax cap. I'm pretty happy about that. There's not going to be a Founder's Day this year, which is regrettable because I think it's a good day. Everyone comes out. It's been sunny the last few years, so I'm going to miss that. Coalition for a Better Brewster decided that they didn't want to do it this year. We're planning to have a information meeting for Tenetta Lake next Thursday evening at Lakeview Manor. The Tenetta Lake Advisory Board and also some other lake community residents are going to be coming out to find out what they can do to maintain the health of the lake. And that's going to be at 8 o'clock. I will confirm that. It'll be on the website. Just have to get one other person confirming it. And can I talk about this blasting thing that's going to happen?
Sure, just don't blow the place up.
Okay. We got a notice today that it's the property at 70 Holmes Road, starting on May 2nd, running through May 29th. Blasting will occur sometime between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. That'll be Monday through Saturday. So do not be alarmed. They're doing work there. And from what I understand, 3 minutes before a blast, there'll be a siren, then another siren 1 minute before the blast. So just to let you know that everything's not going to
Explode.
Right. Anyway, thank you.
John, did they say why they weren't going to have the Founder's Day? Aside from
They
they just don't
didn't-
want to do it?
I don't know. I think there may have been some fatigue. I think that I don't really know. There is speculation as to why, but that's all I could say.
Okay.
The village board didn't really come up with any answers, that they were pretty sad about it.
Yeah, because it's been very successful,
Yeah.
or at least it's been a lot of fun whenever I went. I'd just like to remind everyone again about making certain your address is outside on your signs, on your properties. It's very important to our emergency responders to make certain that they know exactly where you are. Please urge your neighbors, too, if they don't have their numbers and their signs up, and that it's very important to identify your building for that reason.
Thank you. One bit of good news, Scalpino Park is going to have some lights. Next week, they'll be on. When we took them down about 3 years ago, I didn't think we'd ever get them back up, but fortunately, a grant did come through. We were able to get it. And next week, they call it the West Field. That's the first field. The lights will go on. And about 2 weeks later, the other ones will be. So if you're interested in what Little League is, you can come up and get the lights turned on. As a kid, I loved playing under the lights, but we didn't have them. I had to go to another town and enjoyed it very much. Last meeting, we had 2 people made comment about 2 properties here in the town of Southeast. I just want to give you an update. First of all, if you have a problem with a neighbor, well, I don't want to say with a neighbor, because we get a lot of Hatfields and McCoys that we really can't help you with, because it's not something the town involves itself with. If it has something to do with any of our rules and regulations, we could do something. I know the one woman complained and did again this week that a tree on her neighbor's property, the limbs are falling on her property. There's nothing we can do about that. If you have a piece of property as big as this piece of paper, and this is your property, and your neighbor has a tree here, and the limb is on your side of the property, it's your tree, believe it or not. If it falls on your property, according to the insurance company, you're responsible. So that part of it, we can't get involved with. But they did bring up a property in Brewster Heights, or at the bottom of Brewster Heights, I think you all know where that is, by Putnam County Savings Bank. It's called Putnam Avenue. There's one big house, it used to be the Bloomer House way, way back when. It was a really big house, and there's a second house there as well. So the two houses are listed as 150 and 152 Putnam Avenue. The bigger house is a 3-family residence, has 8 bedrooms, 3 kitchens. It applies to all rental registration requirements of the town of Southeast and the accessory apartments. They meet all the codes, the number of vehicles there. We can't go out and count them. I mean, sometimes we have people at night, but you know, if they have 3 bedrooms, I mean, there's a limit to how many they have. If those people had complained to the town in a normal process, we would have had that information last week. I found out after the fact, that house is good. Now, we heard 1,000 people, well, that number was way out in the field. Even if it was 100, it's not a real number. We can't tell you how many are there, but according to the codes of the town of Southeast, they're good. Now, the other property that they reported, which we were unaware of until last week, that's considered to be 2442 and 2446 on Route 6. After you go past that and you go by Southeast Grill, right across the street, there's 2 buildings there. One is a Cape Cod. It's a 1-family residence with an apartment. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 kitchens. They do not have rental registration, and they do not have accessory apartments. So as of tonight, as actually tomorrow, they'll be getting a notice of violation. They're not adhering to the town code. Also on that property is a 1-family residence. It has 1 bedroom and 1 kitchen, and evidently it's being rented out, and they do not adhere to the rental registration and accessory apartment code of the town of Southeast. So both those units will be receiving notice of violations tomorrow. And Lori, thank you for that information. Anyone else? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we close tonight's meeting?
Is there a second? Come on. Don't look for me, I'm saying.
I talked all night, I'm done.
I'll offer a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.